Yo, what's going on people? It's your boy Huncho back at you again with another video, and so I've got some stories that I want to go over with you guys that have taken place over these past few days coming out of the capital. The first story, and I'm sure a lot of you will be aware about this one, is covering the story of a man who was recently murdered as the result of him protecting his son from a knife man on a bus in Willesden. Footage has been circulating of the argument itself which took place on the bus, and there's actually footage of the stabbing as well, but I won't be showing either here because the family and in fact the police have asked the footage not to be shared on social media. So what do we know so far about this case? Well, this went down on Thursday evening at around 5:10 p.m. and passengers were on a crowded 460 bus on Willesden High Road when all of a sudden a fight breaks out. According to one witness, the argument had started because Michael Olatunde Fadayomi, known to his friends as Tunde, who was the victim in this attack, his son, who was reportedly on his way to football training with his friend, were being accused by this knife man for preventing the bus from moving, but believe it or not, the vehicle was actually stationary because the drivers were changing. The witness continued, quote, "The bus had stopped outside at Willesden garage and the man just kept shouting that he needed to see his mum, and then he started accusing the boys of being the reason why the bus wasn't moving. I was on my phone and I was thinking, why is this grown man shouting at these boys? The boys were trying to calm him down, but then he reached into his crotch and pulled out a blade. The boys ran off the bus and one said he was going to go get his dad." From the footage that has been circulating on social media, it depicts Tunde coming onto the bus and confronting the knife man, and witnesses would go on to say that Tunde had asked him why he was troubling his son. They started shouting at each other, and then the knife man produces his knife once again and shouts, "I just want to go and see my mum." Next, both men get off the bus and a fist fight breaks out, but for Tunde, he was repeatedly stabbed and went on to be murdered as the result of this incident. For the killer, it's believed he just walked off calmly, and then a short while later, police would go on to arrest a 42-year-old man on suspicion of murder. Again, as it stands right now, we're unsure if this was the same man captured in the footage, but if you put two and two together, that would more than likely be the case. And so this story just goes to show you that in the heat of the moment, one thing can lead to another, and now a child's father has been taken away whilst another man is potentially facing years in jail. The worst thing about this situation though is that if the witness's testimony was right, in the sense that this argument started because the man thought that these boys were holding the bus up, but it wasn't, it was because of the driver switch. It just shows how crazy this whole situation is, because again, a man has died over something that wasn't even true in the first place. But that to aside, Tunde didn't deserve what happened to him because he was just standing up for his child like any decent father would do. So I do want to take this time out just to say rest in peace to Tunde, and I do want to extend my condolences out to his family, especially his son who witnessed this situation. But moving on to our next story, and for this next one we've got to head over to the Isle of Dogs, where we're getting reports that a 13-year-old boy was fighting for his life in hospital after being stabbed multiple times as he walked to school on Thursday morning. At around 8:50 a.m. on the 29th of April 2021, witnesses said teachers from nearby George Green School had run outside to the boy's aid after he'd been stabbed multiple times. The boy was then rushed to an East London hospital where he remained in critical condition on Thursday, but the following day, on the 30th of April, his condition changed to stable with possibly life-changing injuries, but that is the latest update into his condition. A 15-year-old boy was arrested on suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm, and again, as it stands right now, that's all we know in regards to people arrested. A witness said that he looked out of his window and saw two boys running, and he thought they were just having a bit of fun, and it wasn't until the air ambulance landed and the police arrived that he put two and two together and assumed that somebody had been hurt as a result of these people running away. The man brings up an interesting point as well. He goes on to say, quote, "The age groups are getting a bit younger in regards to people committing knife crime." He continued, "It's obviously a lack of discipline at school." And so once again, another teenager has been stabbed on the streets of the capital, more specifically East London, within this past week or so. And the second, believe it or not, to be stabbed in his school uniform, which you have to let that sink in a moment. A child is fighting for his life after being stabbed on the way to school. Can you imagine being a parent and you're doing your normal thing in the morning and you're sending your 13-year-old child off to school, and then out of nowhere you receive a call saying that your child is in hospital fighting for their life after being stabbed multiple times. It's just quite hard to comprehend. But let me know what you guys think of this down in the comment section below. Give the video a little like, and if you want the latest drill, street and music news out of the UK, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your boy Huncho, and I'm out.